Hi, everyone. All right. Come in. Enjoy the music. See Joel. Saeed's there. Who else do I see here? Some new people. Courtney. All right. Yay. Everyone ready to play? Yeah. Got a couple more people heading in. And I'm going to do a quick little intro here and welcome everyone today. Saeed, I need some dancing over there. Thank you.
Everybody, this is a good moment to do maybe some stretches. We're going to limber up. You are going to be playing a game today, so I think there's not going to be any push-up challenges or anything, but I think, you know...
What? No?
No, just mental challenges today, but a few, like, just getting a little bit...
Jazz, can we do jazz hands?
Yep, that works. I mean, you're going to need to use a keyboard, so jazz hands. A beverage, a snack. You're going to need some energy, so if you don't have... Courtney, very nice. Very stylish, actually. Is it iced coffee or something? No, she's like, no, it's water. Okay.
So you don't have to scream over the music now.
Thank you.
Well, I just want to welcome everyone. I'm going to give a quick little intro here for Anna. I'm so excited. I met her actually for the first time when we were having dry run, and she just put a smile on my face that entire dry run that we had. So I'm super happy to have her here. She's a co-founder of Loumee. Did I say that right? Loumee?
You sure did.
Okay,
yep.
Loumee. And an experience and learning designer, which is also close to my heart. A fugitive lawyer and facilitator, which was very interesting to me, with over 1,000 hours clocked up facilitating in person and online. She's been working with teams since 2018 and supported 500 plus Fortune 500 plus companies. Wow. Okay. And top tier universities and startups and all the things across all the sectors, law, banking, consulting, tech, and helping them unlock the puzzle that is their team. So I'm really excited for this. I can't wait to hear it. And I'm just going to pass it over to Anna.
Awesome. Thank you, Rachel. Over 500 Fortune 500 companies.
500. Yeah. You go.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much for joining, everybody. I'm super excited to have you here. We're going to be playing a little game. I enticed you all in with some competition. I am a fugitive lawyer. That was a terrible profession. This one is way, way more fun. I should say I do have my co-founder Dan on the call as well, and we're basically the Loumee team who is responsible for the game that you are about to play. So don't hold it against us, please. But to get things kicked off, what I would like to know, I did promise some problem solving. So I've got a little poll for you. Do you like problem solving in a group? Bit of a temperature check. So if you want to vote, you do have a vote. Your answer is anonymous, so don't worry about that. But we've got a few different options here. Heck yes, my brain takes over. I get super excited. Yes, I enjoy finding solutions with a team, for example. Mostly, but I worry a little bit about getting things right sometimes, and this is totally fine if this is you, I actually find it a little bit stressy. It's a little bit like taking an exam. So feel free to answer whichever one you have. Lots of team players here. Thank you so much for those who have said that they find it a little bit stressy. I'm going to do my best to make this not a stressy experience. It definitely shouldn't be. It should be one that is fun, but it's nice to flag for everybody that, you know, there could be people with different preferences in your room, so make sure that you're being inclusive and kind. So I'm going to stop that one. I should say I wanted to have Madonna as the intro music, like a virgin, because this is my first time facilitating on Butter. It's amazing. Could I just get a reaction for Butter from everybody? It is so good. However, just excuse me if I'm a little bit of a numpty when it comes to getting things running. But you should be able to all see my screen, keeping that little thing where it's like, oh my God, can everybody see my screen? I hope that you can. Look, super duper, except I can't see my screen. So, solving problems with problem solving. Now, I enticed you all here with a game, and I promise we are going to play one. I will get to that in a second. We're going to be playing a game, and at Loumee, we're all about problem solving games. So, problem solving specifically as a methodology. It's also a competition. So, if you're competitive, I'd love to hear in the chat. Please let me know now. If you're not competitive, don't worry about it. I suspect we probably have some collaborators in the group as well. But this is basically designed to reflect a multi-part problem, something you might do at work. So think about how you're going to plan, how you're going to delegate, and how you might collaborate. Some people seriously competitive. Very, very nice. So the theme today, it's a line by a Nobel Prize laureate. And so what we love to do in our games is have individual puzzles that then relate to a meta puzzle. And so this is going to be the game that you're playing today, the ultimate thing that you need to try and solve. Those individual puzzles are going to include things like logical reasoning, number problems, word problems, visual problems, and as I said, the master or meta problem, okay? Here is a little example that I like to give. So this is called a rebus equation, and basically you'll see that the pictures represent different words, and then we use some math functions to take away different letters to arrive at a one-word answer, okay? So hopefully those of you who said that they find this a little bit like an exam are not feeling like that at the moment. Remember, you're going to have nice people in your room. This is going to be fun. But it is a competition, so therefore there has to be a couple of rules, okay? So it is a game of accuracy as well as speed today, and you will be getting time penalties for getting things wrong. 5 minutes if you get one of these individual problems wrong, 10 minutes if you get the master puzzle wrong, but you can ask for help. You can ask me, don't worry about it, but it will cost you, okay? We have a 20-minute playing time today, and it will cost you 10 minutes if you decide to ask for the answer. I don't want you to get stuck, but just think about that. So you can use also, this is probably the most important rule, you can use absolutely anything, including Google, your favorite AI, go for it, try and break the game, use as many tools as you have. Some tips from me to do well. Read the questions. It's amazing how many teams don't do this. Read the questions. Obviously, they are there, which you need to answer. Discuss your strategy. So our games are not sequential, so you don't need the answer to puzzle number 1 to get to puzzle number 2, etc. So you can decide on a different type of strategy. You can decide to, for example, divide and conquer between you, or you can work through them all one by one. Just make sure you do discuss your strategy. And 3, most importantly, be inclusive. Be aware of the fact that maybe there are a few people in your group that feel a little bit uncomfortable, and make sure that you involve them as you can. A great way to do that is by thinking about roles, okay? So you could think about, is somebody going to be a scribe? Is somebody going to be collecting the information on behalf of my team? Is somebody going to be the master Googler? Okay, there's lots of different roles within the game that you could take. Just make sure you discuss them and consider your tools and resources. As I mentioned, Google, ChatGPT, they are all available. So, does anybody have any questions? This little doggy would love to know. Feel free to hit me with those. Otherwise, before we get us kicked off, we're doing this a little bit differently to how we normally do it. I'm going to drop a link in the chat in a second, and you're going to have to join a team. So you're going to be in breakout rooms of around 4, okay? They're going to be randomly assigned. I have taken absolutely no bribes in the construction of these breakout rooms. They are random, okay? So whoever you end up with is who you were meant to end up with. But you will be called Team 1, Team 2, Team 3, for example. When I drop the link in the chat, you'll see very clearly there's Team 1, Team 2, Team 3. You need to join that particular team. But I want us to have something fun that's a little bit creative. And you also need to say hello to each other once you get inside the rooms. So you're going to come up with your team name alter, okay? I want an alter ego. And we're going to do this by quickly now putting into the chat the worst team name you can possibly think of. And I have to say, at Loumee, we've seen them all. We've seen so many Team Amazings, Team Boring. So please give us something that you think is the worst team name you could possibly think of. And then what I'm going to get you to do is once you get thrown into your breakout rooms, please say, hi, my name is Anna, and I think the worst possible team name is blah. Then you can use that as some inspiration to come up for your team name alter, okay? And if you are our winner today, I am going to be asking you what the worst team name is. Team, worst team, teamwork, dreamwork. Yes, we see that all the time, Joel. So, wonderful. Let me see what else have we got. Some super cute ones in there. Winning team. Yes. Egos, very nice, very, very good. All right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen because we promised a game, and I'm going to drop into the chat a little lobby. So if you want to just click on that, it should open a link. I think we're going to only need 3 teams today, maybe. Is that right, Rachel? If we're 4?
Let's see. I think so.
Super. Alrighty. So if everyone wants to just click on the game lobby, can everybody see that? You should see a few different team names. Don't join anything yet. Don't worry. Once we open up the breakout rooms, that will all be obvious. So Rachel, I think that we might do that. Yeah.
All right,
Does anybody have any
go.
questions? Nope. Awesome.
All right.
Okay.
Your team names will actually be named Group 1, Group 2, Group 3 when you get into them. So just match them with Team 1, Team 2. Match the numbers when you get into the dashboard. So let's go ahead and start.
Awesome. May the best team win. Have fun. Woohoo! Welcome back, everybody. Nice work. Oh, we were so mean to you with time. I'm sorry about that. We had to be pretty strict. How did you go? Can I get some reactions? Good. Feeling a little bit like, ooh, I don't know how we went on that one. If you maybe haven't submitted yet with your team, it's absolutely not too late to do so. If one of you would like to submit whatever you've got on behalf of your team. As we know, it is a game not just of speed, but also of accuracy, okay? So we could have, I would love to have a submission from all of our teams. So if somebody just wants to do something on behalf of them, that would be wonderful. Otherwise, I will need to go ahead. You've done exceptionally well, I have to say. I'm so impressed. I hope that you feel proud of yourselves because you were super, super fast coming in under the time cap, which is always nice to see. How would everybody rate their teamwork on this one? Yeah, good. Happy about that. Yeah, nice. I was spying on you. 10. Thank you so much for putting some ranking in there. Yeah, give me a number. I was spying on you, and I would rank your teamwork as being very, very good. It seemed like every time I dropped in, people were really thinking about some puzzles. There was a lot of people leaning very, very close to their computers. It's a little bit like FaceTiming with my mother, you know, like when you get really close and they hold it up against their mouth. So I hope that everybody can see my screen okay. I'm just going to go full screen. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Super. Okay, congratulations, you did it. And now for the answers. So puzzle number 1, this was a Rebus equation. I told you a little bit about what they were going to be like, but here you need to figure out what is the word. Again, we use images to represent different words and then some math functions to take away different letters to arrive at, in this case, a one-word answer. So what we had here was bear, take AR. I saw some people struggling over that one. We were looking for AR, short for altered reality or alternative reality or whatever you would like that to be. Plus computers. S was important for this one. Take pewter equals becomes, okay? Puzzle number 2. Are there any Wordle fans in the house? Yes. No. If you are, maybe you liked this one, especially if you divided and conquered. But there was only one word that was possible here as their answer, and it was indeed whole. So super well done if you managed to get that right. Puzzle number 3, this one, it's interesting the different strategies that I see people take. Some people are like, all right, I'm going to figure out from the picture of the country what country is represented. And you can see them waste a little bit of time doing that. Or sometimes teams like to Google, and so for example, you might have Googled which flags they represented. Some of them you might have already known, but the answers we were looking for here was Wales, Honduras, Egypt, and Namibia to spell our word when. Now, we said there was going to be some problem solving that was involved and that you would have individual puzzles that contributed to a master meta puzzle. I hope at this point you're sort of thinking, I have no idea how this is all going to come together, but all will be revealed. So puzzle number 4, another Rebus equation. It was thumb take plus ear take arm take M to give us the as the final answer for this one. Puzzle number 5, this one again, you maybe got a little bit close to your screen, but it is correct. There is only one way out of the maze. So super well done. If you trusted yourself and thought, no, possibly it can't be one, but it was indeed one. So well done. Puzzle number 6, here you had to find the missing letters. And in the end, we'd represented the alphabet. And so if you had have counted through all the different letters, you would have figured out that it was indeed I and S that we were missing. So super well done if you managed to find those. Puzzle number 7 looks a bit scary when you first look at it, but puzzle number 4, you can actually figure out by directly placing the alphabet against the other ones. So we've just swapped the letters for a symbol. And so then you can spell it out to give you world as the final answer. So super well done if you managed to get puzzle number 7 right. Puzzle number 8, this one's a little bit tricky. You need to find the next number in the sequence. And then important step, is it odd or even? So for this one, sequence was going up, down by 8 and up by 4, down by 9, up by 4, down by 10, up by 4, and so on. So it should have left you with 38 as the answer here, and which of course is an even number. Puzzle number 9, I love crosswords. If you love crosswords, I hope that you had fun solving this one. It was all sort of animal themed, and it would have spelled the word voice once you unscrambled the different letters rather. Puzzle number 10, people either love these or they hate them. Sometimes you look at them and you're like, what is the damn word? And you can't figure it out. That's when an anagram solver can sometimes help, or people just get it instantly. There's different ways of people solving, but we're of course looking for powerful as the final answer here. So super well done if you managed to get that one right. Puzzle number 11, our final puzzle in the sequence. Smile, you're like, smile, is it smile? What is it? It's of course smiley that we were looking for, because you have to take the M and the Y, and then and take A gives us silent. So here are all of our beautiful puzzles, all one by one. And you did have to tell me who was the person who said this incredible quote. And it was indeed, when the whole world is silent, even one voice becomes powerful, which is from Malala Yousafzai. She is a Nobel Prize laureate, and she was actually the winner, I think, in 2017 for the Peace Prize. She's done a lot of fantastic work around women's education. So, and now for the results. And I did ask you to give me some dance moves. So I would love to see them. Exactly. Little drum roll, please. I think we had one team that didn't quite make it in with their answers, but I'm sure you were brilliant. We'll be celebrating you afterwards. But coming in the very fast time of 17 minutes was Team 1. Congratulations, Team 1. Woohoo! Very nice. So Team 1, can somebody from Team 1 tell me what was your what was your alter name? I'd love to know. And if you did manage to come up with an alter name dance move, I'd love to see it. Hello, hello.
We got swapped from Team 1 to Team 3, I think. So I forget which one we were.
Okay.
Is that us? I don't know. I don't know who it was.
Alrighty, then we'll
if
say,
it was the winning team, we were Team 1, just saying.
What's our name, Saeed?
Speaking of our altars, we chose the egos, which, and we missed the instructions about creating a dance, so there is no dance. It's just us looking creepy into the camera, maybe.
Exactly. I mean, your ego is so high that even if I gave you those instructions, you wouldn't have followed them anyway, you know, because they're stupid. So exactly. Super well done. And then coming in, our winners today were the astonishing 14 minutes, and it was Team 3. And I think this was Team Meat, if I'm right. Do we have a Team Meat in the house? Spelled M-E-A-T. Tea.
With the,
That's
the
not
bacon
Me?
dance.
That's the
Dancing
bacon
like bacon.
Beautiful. I love it. Super well done.
Are you bringing the sizzle? So.
You guys were so quick. Really, really, really well done. I was super impressed by how, honestly, we have people that take 25, 30 minutes for this task. So you should be really proud of yourselves. You obviously work together really well, especially because we just threw you straight into the room. Okay, so really well done. I want to just close off. I'm going to try and roll through this. I wanted to, yes, Courtney, go team 3. Really well done. Just talk a little bit about, I'm going to dial down my enthusiasm now. I talk about my alter ego as like Captain Enthusiastic when I'm hosting games, but now I want to talk just a little bit, and it's really just a discussion about the different design principles that we try and employ when we're building games with Loumee. So I'm going to start. Little takeaway here, and this is one that you can stamp your choice. I borrowed this. It was one of the existing Butter logos, and I really love it. And what I would love you to do, because we had the original question where I was asking you how you really felt about problem solving in a group. Now that you've actually had that experience, I would love for you to let me know how you feel about it now. Do you feel happy? Do you feel silly? For example, I normally feel silly, so I'm putting myself there. We've got someone who feels energetic. That's very nice. Who else have we got? We've got some feeling creative, some feeling excited. Fine. I like that. Good. Fine is good. Very nice answer. Curious. I like that as well. Obviously here, we're desperately trying to avoid the reds and the blues, although we do sometimes see them. That's for sure. So if everybody's had a chance, really well done. I'm going to swap over. So in terms of, can you all see that okay? It looks kind of small for me, but yeah, you can see it fine. Thank you. Just talking about like problem solving as a methodology and why we use it. There are obviously some pros and cons to using problem solving, and I tried to sort of highlight that at the beginning and at the end. But some of the pros that we see are it's a real world skill, so we all have to do it. We're always needing to do it, particularly at work. And if you're working with, or hosting sessions for digital or remote first teams, they're often having to do it digitally. And so this is a really nice way to simulate a sort of multi-part problem that they need to solve together. It's also nice from a game design perspective because there is only one right answer. And so it makes it easier to have a competition and those sorts of things. Obviously, the alternative to that is having something that's more open-ended and collaborative, but it has a different result. This one is interesting. So we were actually talking while you're in your breakout rooms about it being culturally agnostic. The idea is that most people, depending on where, not independent of where you come from, are able to engage with a problem-solving task. And so what we try to do is have a bit of breadth in the different types of tasks that you were met with. And so some of them were visual, some were word-based, and some were number-based. All of them were able to be Googled. And so the idea is that even if it's not something that you have an implicit understanding of, you can always find the information. And that's why we hammer that in the introduction, that it's super important. That flows into the next point, which is that you can cater to more learner preferences because people have different preferred ways of learning about things. So they might prefer words, some people might prefer numbers. I myself absolutely hate number-based problems. So if I end up with them, I get really stressed about it. But words I love. And so it's a nice way for us to be able to introduce that. They are layerable, which I think is really great about problem solving. And so what we have is individual components that then unlock a sort of meta component. It's nice, you can sort of build multi-layered stories with a problem solving framework. And the nice idea I think about it is that it's also learner-centric in the sense that when you get the answer, you're super proud of yourself because you're not just regurgitating information and all those sorts of things. Obviously, that also can have a flip side, which is here. There are also some cons. There's other skills out there. I mentioned collaboration as one of them, right? So problem solving, I think, gets a lot of prioritization in our culture, particularly corporate culture, but collaboration is also a super important skill that might not be necessarily captured in the game, but it is something that I think people tend to experience in their breakout rooms. There are still cultural preferences, so some people really like to talk and some people really don't, and there's not much that we can do about that when we're putting people into a group, so there's obviously still cultural preferences at play. And for those of you who said that it can feel a little bit like an exam and are maybe feeling a little bit drained right now, it also takes an interpersonal toll on some people. They have personality preferences. Some people get lit up by being in a room, and some people find that really stressful. And so obviously it's something that we need to consider in our game design. Competition versus collaboration, again, it's one of these things that you can think about, and it also induces a risk of failure. You can get it wrong. So, I mean, is anybody feeling like, oh man, I wish I had have got that, or that didn't quite turn out how I wanted? That can be a negative feeling, but what we try to do with Loumee is to back this up with a reflective exercise, because then we can go deeper on what was the actual experience. The game is the experience, but the real learning, I think, comes from what we extract from the experience. So although problem solving is a great methodology, it doesn't solve for everything. So the nice thing when I think about problem solving is we obviously do gamification as well. Gamification is a great thing. It's been shown by research that it engenders playful, thoughtful, transformative, and profound experiences, and the list goes on in terms of the research of people who say that. But there's also research that suggests that like gamification is not effective per se. We need to think about the specific design elements that we are using to then sort of elicit some specific psychological effects. And that's what I'm saying, that in some circumstances there are positives to problem solving and some there are negatives. That doesn't mean that problem solving is a good or a bad methodology. It's just one tool in the toolbox. Justification. Exactly. Nice, Said. Exactly. So I thought that was really interesting when I was reading about that. So I thought I would just quickly close with a few like gamification elements that I love and that we have tried to include in our problem solving. These are aha moments, the red thread, and also friction, I think. And some of you are, I think, talking about frustification. I think that's we're talking about friction there. Find your red thread. Love that. Thank you so much for sharing. Super awesome. Very, very good. So just quickly on aha moments, this is possibly my favorite learner experience to try and engineer. It's not always possible, but when it lands, oh my God, it's so happy. It's like it fell from the sky. You know, so aha or eureka was Archimedes was a Greek god. He got driven from his tub because all of a sudden the idea just emerged to him. I think we all have this experience. For me, it tends to happen when I'm in bed, and it absolutely completely annoys my partner because I'll be like, oh my God. And he's like, ooh, you know, like extricating his fingers from the ceiling because I've just suddenly had this idea, right? And it's interesting because there's a lot of research around what happens in your brain when you're having an aha moment or a eureka moment. And they use a lot of fMRI studies, and they've shown that obviously it stimulates dopamine regulation in a specific part of the brain, but it also comes and it can make you have a profound sense of ease. It brings about pleasure. And also, interestingly, I think, certainty that the answer is correct. And so we like to try and engineer that in some ways with our games. You played a short game today, but sometimes we have, yes, very nice. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by shower thoughts is a really, really good idea. Having something that you can write your thoughts for when you do have those eureka moments, because they're also very fleeting, I think. We've all had that experience where all of a sudden you've solved it and then it's just disappeared. So I think this is one tool in our toolbox that we can think about when we're creating gamified experiences, but also problem solving experiences. The red thread, this is sort of more when you go, oh, I see what they're trying to do. Yep, you pick up on a theme. Okay, and I'm going to not do the book version of this. I'm doing the one slide version of this. So please forgive me for being a little bit brief. But it's the idea of stitching together the theme. Your thread can absolutely be purple, Rachel. Doesn't have to be red. In fact, it's kind of arbitrary. But the idea is that you can start to identify a theme that you can pull on and it starts to unravel. And so that's the nice thing about having multi-layered problems, because you might have 11 and you might have had this experience in the game where you're like, oh, okay, you've got 5 words and you're like, I think I know where they're going with this. I'm just going to Google and see what comes up if I put in those words and Nobel Prize laureate, for example. So that's kind of interesting. Another thing about the red thread is a lot of people associate red thread with narrative, right? And it is in some senses narrative driven. It's about a story, it's about a theme. But you might have noticed that with our games, we don't use that much narrative. We don't lean super heavily into it. We have an overarching theme, but you wouldn't say that they're necessarily narrative driven, like an escape room or something like that. There's no like right or wrong approach to this, but it's just, again, looking at when and why and how are we using these sorts of components? What are we trying? What are the psychological responses that we're trying to elicit from the people who are playing with us? And again, it's another nice approach to layers. And so for the final one, which I think is the one that people have the most strong feelings about, and this is of course friction. You might have experienced, and in fact we wanted you to experience a little bit of friction. It could have been from the individual puzzles, or it could have been the people in the room, or just the fact that you're on an evening, if it's evening time for you, trying to solve this puzzle and you're not quite sure why you're here or why you signed yourself up for this. There's all sorts of different ways why you might have friction. But I think here the important thing to think about is effort versus confusion, right? And so there's a little bit of individual effort that's sometimes required, and also something that confusion can be solved by the other people in the room. So it is a collaborative thing. It's not just something you experience in isolation, it's something you experience in relation to other people as well. And again, I think here in terms of learning theory, we're really talking about, of course, the zone of proximal development, so that you are motivated by things that are just beyond your known sense of expertise, right? And so you're motivated to learn. So it's just about stretching people that little bit further. And so it's been an interesting experience for us at Loumee, because we are a SaaS platform. And if you've ever worked with engineers, for them, all friction is bad, right? In software development, friction is the enemy. Everything should be seamless. It should be delightful. There should be no friction. And we really had to pull back on sometimes with our development team and say, we need to think about, is this good friction or bad friction? So we want people to be discussing whether or not this is the approach that they're going to take. We want people to be having experiences that they need to talk about with each other, right? So those are my sort of 3 favorite things about gamification. And so just to sort of try and wrap this all up with some sort of red thread, which I don't think I'm going to do very successfully. It's going to be a bit of a rainbow thread because there's lots of ideas in here today. But when we're thinking about gamification and creating experiences, I think the most important thing for me is not so much if, I think it's great, but it's what, how, and when, being incredibly deliberate with the different elements that we pick and then we use in our particular experiences. So thank you very much for listening to my rambling TED Talk. We have 10 minutes now, or a few minutes, sorry, we've gone a bit over time, for people just to ask any questions, comments, observations. Also, you can come up with, things that really annoyed you. Please let us know. We love feedback. I'm going to trawl back through the chat and see. Anna-Marie, you said there were some parallels to your session yesterday. I think that was super true. I attended part of it before my power cut out. Unfortunately, thank God that didn't happen today. But it was on ambiguity for those of you who weren't there. So what makes you say that in terms of some parallels?
When you were talking about the zone of proximal development and how that is where we find the most friction, because sometimes it's like too out of reach and very uncomfortable. So that's where kind of the ambiguity, I feel, kicks in. We're like, I don't even know what this is. I can't grasp it. I don't know where to go and what to do. And it's that dwelling in that state of not knowing a bit, sitting with it, exploring it, see what happens.
Exactly.
Anna-Marie, it's so funny you say that. I'm reading a book right now, Hidden Potential, that just came out. I think it's Adam Grant. And there was a line in there about the way people think they learn best is comfortable for them, but it might not be the way they actually learn best. They think it is, it's comfortable for them. So it was an interesting parallel there too for me.
Exactly. And I think something that often comes up in these kind of experiences, especially when we're trying to introduce, I saw somebody post on LinkedIn the other day, which was amazing. They were using LARP as a framework, so live action role play, and using that as a way of introducing conflict. I think it's probably some people saw that as well, so that they were intentionally engineering conflict between characters, right? Not between individuals. but they were talking about, is this a good thing? You know, like, how do we do this safely? And I think that's something that we talk about a lot in the context of games as well, is psychological safety. This is obviously so fundamental. And so checking in before and after, I think, is super important, and also checking in with people as you go along. And you are placing a lot of trust into people, you know, in this experience. You're really risking a lot interpersonally. I can see some people have to drop off. Thank you so much. I know we've gone over time, but really thank you for attending. It was super fun. I hope you enjoyed playing, and congratulations to our winning team, Team Meat. That was amazing. Can we all do the Team Meat dance? So good.
Should everyone do it?
Exactly. It reminds me of Everything Everywhere All at Once. Has anybody seen that with the fingers? That they're like, it's exactly what it reminds me of, sausage fingers. So.
If anyone wants to connect with Anna or join us in the Butter community, you'll see the pinned message there. It's a little further up in the chat too, or you hit see pinned messages. You will have all the links. And thank you again for joining us today. I had fun.
Thank you, Anna. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Have a great day.